So now, moving forward, we are delighted to welcome our next guest lecturer, Mr. Sreenivas Pisupati sir, advisor for AI delivery and architect, and a renowned quantum specialist. He will be taking us through a highly intriguing topic, quantum agentic AI in healthcare using Qiskit. We are sure this session will provide deep insights into the convergence of quantum computing and AI in transforming healthcare. Please join me in welcoming our guest lecturer, Mr. Srinivas Pisupati sir.
Good evening. Right. See, I can see some of the today. Right. What is it? Right. Sun. Now see. Insurance. Maybe Walmart, maybe Subway, maybe everybody gets his great uncle, right? That's how I can do a few years that is that. Maybe they all C, C++, in server, Java server pages, right? Then so on and so forth. Then we are into AI right now. We are into Python programming, right? So the topic today or the festival that we are talking about, all the people, right? After 7 o'clock, you guys are more enthusiastic and interested to participate in the cultural events, right? I have seen a lot of crowd yesterday. Why there is no crowd here? You have to show the equal amount of interest in the technology. You should have a passion. You should have the killing instinct. I was talking to some of the guys in the morning. Who are those guys? Right? Did I talk sense? Right? I asked them what is software development life cycle? What is SDLC? They could not say. But I have given them an example. How the human life goes. How the software life goes. Then they understood the point. And they told it will remain in our brain for some years to go. So the examples that we provide for the artificial intelligence. See, I am not a researcher. I am not a professor. I am an industrialist. All my experience of 30 years is in the industry. I'm a practical guy. If something is not implementable, I will not use it in my company. The company doesn't spend money to waste the money. If you are talking about, some library in QSI Kit or whatever it is, and if we are not in a position because of the size of the company, because of the nature of the company, or whatever the business that they have, if they are not able to use that particular technology, is that useful or not? It's not useful, guys. All the companies runs on some business. How much they are investing, how much return they are getting. Any company in the world today, if you take it, right? So there are some research institutes where they spend a lot of money on bringing something in the future for the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. The research that we are doing today probably will become a product tomorrow, right? I don't belong that. I don't research anything, right? I understand the client requirements. I design the software for them. I test the software for them using different tools and technologies. AI may be one of them. Your quantum computing will be one of them. If not today, I'll come back to that. What is the topic today? Today, the topic is the Agentic AI using the quantum computing Qiskit methodology or the Qiskit framework. I call it a framework. Whether it is a software development kit or whatever IBM calls as SDK, but I call it as a framework. Right? So using the Qiskit, IBM's proprietary framework, how do I solve the problems in the healthcare domain, right? Which agentic AI is not able to solve, and it is taking as a challenge. Okay, you will come to know a lot of jargon in the medical technology here, right? I'm a doctor. I can claim it, but I'm not a doctor. I'm an IIT Kharagpur graduate, passed out 30 years back, right? Over a period of time, when I started working in the healthcare domain, that's why all the people who are budding in the quantum computing today, when you're talking about AI or quantum computing, the word domain is very important for you. It may be banking, financial services, insurance, which they call BFS as an acronym there. They call retail, e-commerce applications, right? Healthcare, the tremendous potential today, what I envisage for the quantum computing. Of course, Qiskit comes as a part of the quantum computing. Somebody else has got a penny lane, somebody has got some other framework in Canada, Toronto. That is okay. The same IBM may be having something which is suitable for that particular country, for that particular healthcare. The US healthcare is different, Canadian healthcare, and the Canadian healthcare may be different from Indian healthcare. But all are driven by the compliance there. US calls it as an HIPAA compliance, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. So what I wanted to tell you is that over 1 hour time, if you have got 4 hours time, I'll spend 4 hours with you. If you have got 2 hours time, I'll spend 2 hours with you, right? But try to learn something what I'm trying to say here. The agentic AI. Everybody knows what is agentic AI? What is artificial intelligence? What is agentic AI? What is RAG? And how those problems are not able to get solved to the technology, and how do I bring in the quantum flavor inside using the Qiskit? That is the topic of the day. So this medical terminology, whatever I am talking about, is the domain. Anybody to succeed in the software industry should have a domain knowledge, should have the technical knowledge, should have the process knowledge, and should have the documentation skills, right? And you should have the team skills. If you are a top Python programmer who's a quantum engineer sitting in one corner, if you join Infosys, or if you join, Cisco, or if you join GE, or if you join Microsoft, for example, that won't work. We have to work in one agile team where you have to interact with the product management group, you have to interact with your developers, you have to interact with the QA people, you have to interact with the client there as well. Please try to understand where I'm coming from. I'm holistically touching the subject here. The software development lifecycle, the agile methodology, the DevOps, along with the domain which I'm talking about, the flavor here. Whatever the terminology that I use today, the electronic medical records EMR, the electronic health records EHR, the HIPAA compliances, right? The FHIR, this SOFA kind of assessments, the various diseases that we are talking about, the Alzheimer's diseases, how do you predict before it advances to the advanced stage? How do I use my quantum computing? There the quantum computing comes in picture. So we'll take 2-3 examples there. One of my flagship product where I developed the product is the risk-based testing approach. You can search my name in the Google, right? I'm not a researcher again. All the things that we are doing, that I have been doing, has come as a practice. How Agile has evolved, anybody can tell. It is not. There's no book on Agile, like a waterfall model or Pressman strong principles and practice of software engineering. Some people thought the client requirements are coming in the last minute. Some people thought we wanted to deliver incrementally. We wanted to have more control on the particular project or the product incrementally rather than waiting for testing to be done and delivered to the customer. So these practical problems in the practitioner's approach has created to come out with an agile process. So the problems that the industry is facing have basically triggered the solutions where they are calling agile or DevOps or whatever it is. Try to understand that. So the terminology that we use today, the domain plays a major role in the artificial intelligence, in quantum as well. If I don't know what problem I am trying to solve, what are the challenges that the current industry today is facing, there's no point in keeping 120 or 126 qubit processor, a qubit quantum computer somewhere else, right? What am I going to do with that terrific hardware which is sitting there, which is an expensive proposition? Is it a weather forecasting problem? Is it a healthcare problem? So in healthcare problems, what are the healthcare problems? First of all, you have to say that is called the story. So if you are having the hackathon tomorrow, day after tomorrow, I don't want to leave anybody if somebody is not able to document what they are trying to solve. I wanted the acceptance criteria from them saying that this is a story. I am going to solve the amino acids in the protein folding problem so that the drug discovery time comes down by 50%. How the simulation takes place. Then what happens? Once you articulate that problem in terms of a story, then you go into the design. How do you architect a solution? You know what is the problem you are going to solve. In between the problem statement, which is a protein folding or a Qiskit finance problem, in between the problem to actually coding and testing and delivery, the delivery comes. There is a in between, there is a design, there is a unit testing, and there is something known as the overall system testing. How do I do the system testing for a quantum circuit that I am designing using quantum terra or whatever it is? You are getting the libraries, the rich set of libraries which is available to you in the framework, which is called Qiskit. Test automation framework is one. Developer framework is one. Right? Java framework is one. React is a framework. So all the frameworks will you provide. What is a framework? It provides you some set of rich libraries where you can import those libraries. It will allow you to process some data through some tools. It will give you the standards, the methodologies, the processes, the checklist and the guidelines, and the recovery mechanism and the exception handling that we can do if any error comes, etc. So this is called a framework, which is a set of holistic integration of everything. So the Qiskit is being used today for some of the problems where the agentic AI. So artificial intelligence is one field where we are talking about. Domain is one field. Artificial intelligence, agentic AI, and quantum and the Qiskit are the technology aspects of it to me. But I go to a doctor and I go to a cancer research specialist in the Philadelphia area and I ask her, right, how do you use actually quantum QAOA in basically analyzing and coming out with optimizing the molecule simulations in a cancer drug research? So these are all pertinent to the healthcare domain. Healthcare is a vast field where the quantum has really penetrated and will try to penetrate further and further because of the electronic medical records, which is sitting 10,000, 10 million records. Electronic health records. In US, all these medical records are highly confidential in nature. The data encryptions, the confidentiality, the integrity, the availability, the security aspect of it, everything is totally, is a secured way. They have to store somewhere and they have to use in somewhere. Nothing more, nothing less. Right? Whatever we need, we get it. So we have got 4 or 5 layers here, which has got the agentic layer. Now, when it comes to agentic AI, all my things will be done anonymously by defining certain roles for the agents. I'll show you one example here in my case studies where exactly we have used it. There's nothing theory or nothing available in Google, what that we call GPTs, etc. So all practical things I'll show you. There's a risk-based testing. right? Suppose, let us say, over a period of time, for example, Microsoft has started around 25 years back. They've got a product called Microsoft Windows 1.1, or let us say they have a product 1.1. Now, in 2025, their versions have gone tremendously. So their testing aspect of that application also, the test case size has gone up. It may be 20 million, it may be 30 million. Even if you use the automation tools, can you execute all the 20,000 test cases? So you have to apply some kind of element of risk. What is the risk prone? If two patients are sitting inside a doctor's office, somebody is having a terrific pain in his heart, and somebody is having a leg pain, and he's looking at his YouTube. Whom the preference doctor will give now? Heart patient, right? You can't even say that. Can you loudly say that it is a heart problem, right? What I am telling you again and again, people are in the 4th year, final year, etc., etc. Unless you know the domain, you know the artificial intelligence, quantum is not that useful. Quantum and AI goes hand in glove with that. Whatever the AI today is able to solve all the problems. The deployments, the large language models, right? The natural language processes, the retrieval and augment generation, retrieval plus agentic AI is the solution of the day. But because of some optimization issues, because of some subtle linear separation cannot be done between there's a firewall where we can say this is an Alzheimer's disease or this is not an Alzheimer's disease. He's an LD patient, he's not an LD patient, he's showing the symptoms. So that kind of optimization, that kind of linear separation has to be done using by our precision and accuracy. That is nothing but the quantum comes into picture because of its inherent features. You call superposition, you call entanglement, you got the quantum algorithms, you design a circuit, right? You basically optimize it using transpilers. But again, the SDLC is sitting behind you guys. You are using the term quantum circuits. Whereas a person who is developing a Java application or React application, you uses a term called front end or the back end. But everybody has to do the testing. I was talking to Janani in the morning, in the afternoon. So I asked her, how do you actually, IBM provides a facility to do the quantum circuit testing at the unit level as well as at the overall holistic level. Has anybody asked that question to her? She has discussed the topic, right? You should come out as as an individual. First of all, most important thing for you is that even if you understand or not understand, if you have got a doubt, you have to ask. Don't sit, don't let the doubt be with you only. So the domain is very important, which we are talking about today. Whatever the jargon that I use, right? That electronic medical records, HIPAA compliances, that sequential, right? Acute assessment, organ failure assessment, they call. So we also talk about. I'll not touch more than theory now. I'll touch 2-3 case studies and I'll explain the case study in terms of the theory and where the Qiskit is used and where the quantum is used and where the AI is used. So I'm just giving an example here, Agentic AI. So let us say I deployed some agents in my hospital, right? The hospital agents will monitor, let us say all the people here, they monitor all our vitals. The vitals may be blood pressure, it may be heart rate, right? It may be respiratory rate, it may be GCC or a chroma levels, or it may be, what you call the saturation rate. What is the saturation rate? Everybody was here in 1919, 20, right? We know those 2 years, right? No IRS. What was the era there? Why 2019 and 2020 or 2021 rather? What's significant for the entire universe, not only for India, but for New York or for Mexico or UK or whatever it is? COVID. So what is the first step the doctors used to do in COVID times? They used to measure your oxygen levels, right? That is called the saturation levels. So these are called the vitals. So when you go to an hospital, the doctors will measure the vitals, and if this fellow is good at the vitals, heart rate is fantastic, right? He's able to walk, he's able to talk. right? And his pulse rate is good, his respiratory is good, right? And his saturation levels are fine. Those vitals are actually managed through our agentic AI. So I deploy an agent which keeps on without disturbing anybody, where the attendance is not necessary for those agents to monitor. That happens there through an agentic AI. So that is one example of agent AI. So I define the role for an agent there, saying that keep on monitoring these vitals and keep on reporting to me. I am the doctor sitting in my doctor's office. Anything that happens in the vitals, some patients, so I don't need the vitals for you all guys. When some patient goes to an hospital, that means he goes with a problem. So the basic fundamental thing that we measure is the vitals. So you deploy an agent which is called the agent. The agentic AI, without hindrance from anybody, without intervention from anybody, it keeps on monitoring these vitals. That is called an agentic AI. In software testing, how many people actually understand the concept of software testing? Final year guys who got the jobs. Final year guys who got the jobs or who are able to, who are attending the interviews. Anybody here? No one is here. So this what I am talking about is all practical examples. That's not theory. Huh? Right. So when you are talking about the software testing here, right? You in the AI paradigm today, right? So whatever the test cases manually people were writing, whatever the automated scripts that they were using the Selenium WebDriver, etc. So the entire paradigm of software testing has been changed, where we are creating an agentic AI to develop the test cases, which is called the test case generator. And there's an agent which I'm creating where the test cases are executed unattended. See the beauty of it. You guys have to die for these statements that I'm giving today. The agents are created for a test case generator. The agents are created for a test case executioner. The agents are created for bug logging, and all are independently operating. And I have defined the roles for them. This agent has to do this. This agent has to. They interact in such a seamless way. The test case generation is taking automatically, and the test case execution is done automatically whenever new test cases are written. And the bug tracking, whenever a test case expected result and the actual result are not matching, where there is a bug in the software, that bug is being logged in the bug tracking system automatically. What is the bug tracking system that you know? The people who are selected for Infosys. Have you heard about Jira? So these are the practical things. Research won't help us who are joining the industry, please. You have to come on the ground reality, saying that what is happening in the industry, how the agentic AI is actually deployed, how the AI is being actually deployed applications, how the agentic AI is used, and how now when come to the actual problem here. The Qiskit quantum computing, how do you use that? We'll take a couple of examples. One is the risk-based testing. We'll take that. What exactly we are trying to do that, right? And what we are going to do for predicting the Alzheimer's disease in the healthcare domain. The some diseases in the body, they will not show symptoms unless they reach the advanced stage. Sometimes cancer as well. So this Alzheimer's disease, it throws some symptoms which are actually not these actual symptoms that the people will feel. Oh, normal. So let's say my legs are swelling. That is, I don't go for a diabetes test. I say it's normal only. I've been sitting here for 4 hours now. So that's why the swelling has come. Let us say after 4 days, the swelling continues even though I'm walking. Then it triggers, I have to go for a diabetes test. Right? So these kind of symptoms, let us say when I go to doctor after 4 days, where so far I'm a fantastic guy, I'm a very healthy guy, but when I go to doctor, let's say my fasting blood sugar shows 300, for example. The 300, did it come all the way, all of a sudden? The normal. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
అది లేదని చెప్పాను.
Okay, sir.
ఇప్పుడు టైం ఎంత అయింది? 4:50. Yes. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Okay. Another 5 minutes I'll take. Ask him to wait for another 5 minutes. He's from Spain or he's from Calcutta or something. So let him wait because we have been struggling here, right? So we will wind up. That is the thing that we got it, right? So when the flow goes like this, right? I don't want to stop really, right? So, but nevertheless, that is fine. So please consult me, whoever wanted to talk to me on all these things. So when you talk about the AI, when you talk about the creation of the agents, when you talk about the agentic AI and how the Alzheimer's disease, right, in the symptoms will not show up. So how do I basically understand what are the normal symptoms and how do I use my optimized algorithm like QAOA, which is borrowed from the Qiskit, right? Some libraries I am borrowing. That's why I called you the framework. The framework is being used to get the libraries, to get the checklist, to get the guidelines, to get everything, to get the recovery mechanism, to get the exception handling, so on and so forth. So you imagine that framework. You are taking the advantage. You are not writing a QSIT kit framework, right? Somebody else has written. IBM is doing that. It is IBM's responsibility to maintain that quiz kit. Tomorrow I'll identify one problem which cannot be solved by quiz kit. So I'll raise that problem to IBM to Austin Labs, right? And they have to solve that problem. That happens, right? It is not solving every problem in the life. If you talk about finance, Qiskit finance, do you think it is solving the algorithmic trading problems? We have to make some customization. We have to make some fine tuning everywhere and there. I am not going to solve my change my business because Qiskit is asking me that. Do I change my business? No, right? So for you, the business is important. The user stories are very important. How do you design these applications? How do you document is very important. So I'll run some 2-3 programs, right? There's a PPT there. Why it's not coming? Nishant? No. Yes. Okay. So let us quickly spend time on this, right? Anybody has got any doubts, please meet me after that. By integrating the quantum mechanics based computations with goal driven autonomous AI agents. So my agents are doing autonomously jobs for me. That is the beauty of artificial intelligence. The agentic AI, retrieval augmented generation, the artificial intelligence, the LLM indexes, all those things are tools are available to me for AI, right? So AI agents, healthcare systems can tackle previously intractable challenges in real time. So this quantum computing we are talking about, how do I integrate? So we have to democratize the quantum computing. Quantum computing is not in the labs. It is not in IBM labs in Bangalore alone. How do I democratize and bring the quantum computing, the Qiskit, the other libraries to Canada, to US, to India, to Calcutta, to Bangalore, to Germany? How do I democratize that? Because I am trying to solve a problem like banking problem, the financial services problem, the healthcare problem. Here the topic is the agentic AIs using the healthcare problems. The fusion allows unprecedented advances in diagnostics, disease identification and diagnostics. Again, once you identify a disease for a particular patient, what is the various paths it will take, right? Let us say you are maintaining his vitals. You are maintaining his blood pressure. Is he a diabetic? Yes or no? Is he having smoking habits? Is he having any lung problem previously? So all these variables and parameters actually complicate the issue. So you have to land in something which is the optimization. If this value is this, if this value is not there, if this value is less than 5, if this value, so you keep on going all the permutations and combinations, etc. So there the quantum computing comes very, very handy, right? So you have to have a classical computing plus the quantum computing mix, which they call the hybrid. That is the solution right now. Don't try to replace the entire thing with the quantum computing, which is they call as boiling the ocean. Nobody will do that. Suppose I sit in front of a Vizag beach and say I wanted to boil the complete the Bay of Bengal. That is in industry they use the term boiling the ocean. They will say first do whatever is possible. That is called the agile incremental approach. So you also understand and think about how the SDLC in the industry is managed. The people who are joining the Infosys also, you may not be getting all the training that you need, right? When you are going for RGUKT Srikakulam, you should be equipped with all these terminologies so that when you join the Infosys, you will not be a novice there. You will try to talk the same language as the people there who are the project managers or who are talking to. They will not have time to teach you everything. They will say they will be given a project and you will be asked to do immediately. And you struggle through GPT or Google, whatever it is, you try to get the information. Again, if you use GPT, I can find out whether you actually use GPT to write the code or not. That also they will find out. So you should be very, very meticulous. You should be tactful in your professional career. So now we talk about the Qiskit plus the AI in healthcare. That's what is the topic. So what is the role of an agentic AI in healthcare? They autonomously, continuously adapt to new data and evolving conditions. That's what we also taught. Beyond hospitals, agentic AI is also embedded in wearables. So, for example, somebody gives me to monitor my blood pressure 24 hours a day. So it keeps on giving some signals to the doctor who is sitting sometime, some long distance, and it will keeps on giving the report to him. At 7 o'clock, his BP is that. 7:10, it is BP is there. He is driving, so BP is going up. So he will get a trend. He will get some waveform, etc., so that he will get the information on those things. So the quantum computing in healthcare has got very, very good potential compared to any other domain. You know domain now, right? You are going to solve the problems for the domain, right? No? Yes? You know e-commerce domain? Every day, left and right, you buy Swiggy, right? Left and right, you buy Amazon, right? That is called the e-commerce. You go and buy some medicines, right, in Apollo pharmacy or something. Or you go to a hospital, for example. They will measure all the BPs, etc. They will admit you as a patient there. They will ask you to come, to see the doctor tomorrow. Doctor will perform certain tests there. So the scheduling happens there. The registration of the patient happens there. And once you are discharged, you have to pay some money to them, which is called the billing. All these things are the part of the healthcare system. And it is highly regulated industry. I don't know about India, but US it is regulated by HIPAA compliance, which is Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. All that information that is going from somebody in terms of his information that goes, my age or my previous history of the diseases, right? My social security number, so on and so forth, are highly confidential in nature. They're all encrypted. Data confidentiality, data integrity, and data availability is very, very important. Okay. So this is the combined power of quantum agentic AI. Now we talked about AI, we talked about agents, we talked about the quantum computing, where the Qiskit comes into handy when you are not able to solve the challenges. So as you talked about there will be, this is the architecture generally, as I told you, the story is what problem you are going to solve, and this is the design and the architecture that you are going to design. Okay. At this point of time, try to keep that, you need to follow that cycle. The use cases in healthcare, disease identification and personal diagnostics, predictability of the diseases in the early stages. Let us say in the COVID, let us say in Vijayawada, for example, there are 5,000 patients and there are 20 ICU beds and there are only 2 ventilators. How do I optimize to give the 2 ventilators to 50-bed ICU people? First of all, how do I give the 5,000 people, 10,000 people? Every second the number is increasing. So there the quantum computing comes very hand, where we talked about the optimization algorithm, quantum approximate optimizers algorithm, etc. We use the VQAs, we use the VQs, quantumizing solvers, right? Quantumized all the libraries that are provided by the great god Qiskit. It's a framework. So, for example, the framework has been designed for quantum computing. If you talk about AI frameworks, yes, we have got AI frameworks, right? Which is called the transformer technology frameworks. So each technology is coming out with certain frameworks, which allows us to write the Python programs or any other programs where you call those and import those libraries where you are not reinventing the wheel. Try to understand these statements. You need not write a library to use, Qiskit Finance. I wanted to understand the stock portfolio for the next 20 years, for example, for my stock GE, for example, I have that. How do I manage that? Right? How do I optimize my portfolio? Let us say I got 5 stocks, which I've bought 5 years back. I wanted to optimize my portfolio. So at any point of time, I will not get into a loss. So this called so quantum is the solution there. When quantum is the solution, what framework I'll be using? Qiskit. Obviously, that is the largest framework that is going to be used. And in healthcare, again, I'm telling why I selected this use case. Healthcare is that the potential that I've seen in the United States as well as in Canada for the quantum computing for the Qiskit. IBM has got a tremendous lab of quantum. They have got quantum computers in Toronto, right? Of course, throughout the US, they have got the quantum computer. In India, we don't have any quantum computer. Canada has got 3-4 places like University of Waterloo and University of Toronto. They've got 120 qubit systems, etc. So they're all much advanced there because they actually use that. Suppose you have got the system now, right now, right? If you don't have actual infrastructure that is there with you, how can you actually do that? So that's why the quantums that are coming here, we can utilize them, by the time there and utilize them. Okay, the data challenge and the HIPAA is EHR. EHR is electronic health records. HIPAA is again the compliance framework. Whatever you do with respect to the healthcare has to follow that compliance. That means data has to be encrypted if it is sensitive data, right? So the agents that we talk about, the layers, is the agentic AI layer and the Qiskit layer, and it comes to quantum machine learning, and it goes to visualization. These are the 4 layers that we talk about. I'm not talking about the Qiskit architecture itself, which has got the terras, the AERs, the visualization, so on and so forth. That is with respect to internal to Qiskit. Don't get confused with that. We are trying to solve an application using Qiskit. Qiskit internal architecture is these 4. Whereas my application agentic AI Qiskit, right? Right, I'm going to use agentic AI and the quantum layer that I'm going to talk, which is the Qiskit libraries, and I'm going to visualize all my results in such a way that I will visualize, and I will compare with the quantum results with the agentic AI results and see what is the benefit and the accuracy and the precision that I'm going to get. So this is the thing that I'm talking about, Qiskit architecture, Terra AI, etc. And this is one program. So let us run one program here where it describes the early stages of the Alzheimer disease. This is the Python program which we have written. Don't worry about what kind of the feature maps that you are using. So it uses all the Qiskit libraries and all. The program has been executed. What is trying to solve, we'll see after the execution, and we'll analyze the results, right? So what I am trying to solve is that I'm going to find out from this program, which is written in Python. Qiskit has got a rich interface with the Python. So this program has been selected with the Python, where we have written the program in Python to detect early stages of the Alzheimer's disease by various ways. We selected 120 samples and we executed the scripts, right? We selected four features. So what happens is, on the beginning, you put some kind of electrodes for a particular patient. It creates some gain is called the electrode and install to unless the interface is at by EEG will shape of data, right? In terms of the coherence, in terms of reducing complexity, how the brain is functioning. Usually reducing its responses, the responses are better, which means the brain concept. That is the basis for the data that is coming up. So I'm looking there, if the EEG getting analyzed, I'm going to basically do that. Right? So you will execute this program. So you have to reduce the size here. Oh, okay, I'll wind up in 5 minutes time. You tell them that we are running late.
Oh, yes, sir, we mentioned.
Program. Here it is a run button. Okay, I'm running this program. Okay, this early prediction of the Alzheimer's disease, right? So I'm training some sets. I'm taking some samples there. And what is that I have taken? Where is the mic? So it is doing something. See, the Pythonic interface of the Qiskit library that I'm going to use, the SDK, right, for solving an agentic AI problem to predict the Alzheimer's disease by giving certain inputs. By how do I get the data? Through EEG, electroencephalogram, or whatever it is, right? It gets the data by putting some electrodes inside the brain of a particular patient and getting the data in terms of certain waves, interpreting the data and executing these programs with a trained set and a tested data set, with selecting the 120 samples of the data. 80% is trained and 20% is tested, whatever it is that I am going to select, and is going to give me who is the person, right? After giving this graph or whatever it is giving, right? Who is the person is having early symptoms, who is not having. So it is finished with the code 0, right? Where is the screen, right? So it finished with the code 0, right? It is successfully executed. And if we analyze this output here, okay, so we use the fidelity quantum kernel plus SVC accuracy is equal to 0.661. The total quantum time is 48.11, and the total sanity Bell state count, which is 0, 0, and 1, 1, in the entangled state, which is having 125 or 131, right? This is the count which is called the Bell count. So we are talking about the plot here, where the plot is got generated here. Okay, so this PNG file has been generated by Python program. The yellow dots are who are having the healthy data. We are not able to find the early Alzheimer's disease symptoms in them. Whereas the purple, if you see, they are having the clearly saying that the activity of the brain, right? So that's why when you are talking about the protein folding, the misfolding of the proteins will also lead to some kind of Alzheimer's disease. So Alzheimer's disease early symptoms are being shown and drawn as a graph in terms of some PNG graphs in the purple notation. So the color coding is also important. And if you say the entanglement or whatever you call it, the intersection between the purple and the yellow, that are not the linearly separable. So how do the quantum comes into picture for me, where I need to identify which are not able to be challenged, which are not able to be solved by the agentic AI kind of a thing, where I use the QAOA or VQA, which is using the variational quantum agent solvers, which is coming from my Qiskit library or the SDK, which I am using the quantum computing. That is the area where generally the hospitals in the US and the people use that. Imagine these various things that are happening there, because easy throws on throwing the data at each of those, every minute or every second. It keeps on changing. The entropy or the coherence or the signal variation that is coming. Oh, first I will see, okay, I'll see him and say, okay, that is fine. Oh, I know him. After 1 second, I will say, oh, the brain will say, let us say I'm an Alzheimer's patient. I don't know who is that guy. So the brain signal variation, these are the things which are called the features where we are going to draw a graph, which we are going to represent that. What does it all mean? From Qiskit clinical intelligence, I am going to derive. The AI intelligence, artificial intelligence, we are talking about the Agentic AI, that is gone now. We have used the quantum Qiskit libraries, we use the QAE, right? VQE, variational quantum agent solvers. And we brought the quantum picture and, say that I wanted to use the quantum computing and the Qiskit library to solve this kind of a problem. Okay. So then it solved the problem. It has given me, this is the thing, this is the thing. Again, it has given some statistics here where you can analyze that. So this is the output that it has given where you can analyze these results. Okay, the total quantum time, so on and so forth. Each of those lines in that output that the Python program has generated for me has got significance. Please try to understand. What is the quantum time? So I have got an explanation for the results where we can discuss later because the time permits. Somebody is waiting from somewhere, not in India, so we have to wind up that. There are a couple of other case studies which I wanted to show which are not there. One is very, very important for me, at least, where this particular thing we are going to market as a product in the Canadian market. This quantum based using the Qiskit, right? Risk based testing, right? That I am going to explain to you later, either part 2 or part 3, whenever the time permits, then we'll discuss later. So with that, I am going to wind up this. And there are a lot of challenges in this field. You guys have to understand there's no future outlook. The future outlook is the agentic AI has to be tremendously improved. The medical advisors, the doctors, the agents, the agentic itself has got problems. The future outlook, we have to be very careful in bringing the quantum flavor. We are talking about the agentic AI. Is it really working fantastic in all the 2000 hospitals? Yes or no? If some system or some process or some tool or some methodology is not able to work in 80% of the cases, 80-20 rule they call, Pareto rule, then it is not worth trying it out. So if we talk about the COVID drug that is coming up in 2020-21, right? Suppose it worked only for 5 patients. It has not worked for everybody, all those 2 drugs, first dose, second dose, etc. Nobody will take it. So it has undergone a lot of clinical trials in 9 months itself because of India. Because of the clinical trials and the tremendous technology that they have used, including the AI by Dr. Reddy's or biological engineering, or whoever has generated this particular drug, right? They're able to reduce the time, the business benefit. That's why when you talk about the agile process there, user story, what is the benefit that you are going to get? By using the quantum Qiskit methodology and the things, I am going to reduce my protein folding and the clinical discovery time by 40%. So that is the benefit. You are going to solve that problem. Instead of 100 days, I am going to reduce it to 60 days. These are the numbers which are called the tangible numbers, which is called the matrix. So this is a whole story, people. This is a whole story of the software engineering, the agile methodology, the processes, the tools, technologies. The Qiskit is just a point, not 1% of it. Before that, lot of things happen. After that, lot of things happen. Does it give any matrix? Whereas my AI gives the F1 recall score, BLUU score, ROGUE score, right? The accuracy, the precision. I can measure all these things. So quantum also gives. So you have to measure and compare with it. So when you are making a career, let us have some more discussion. How do I basically help you guys to get a good job and see that you do very well in the job? That is more important. Getting a job is not the easiest. It's not a difficult thing. But once you are there in the job, how do I penetrate with my existing team? If you say that I am a Qiskit guru, then join a research lab. Don't join what do you call the value labs. How do I use my Qiskit knowledge to solve the problems where the customer has given a project to them? అర్థమైందా లేదా? అర్థమైందా లేదా? అదేదో సినిమాలో ఉన్నాం కదా, అర్థమైందా లేదని. సో ఇట్స్ ఎ ఓషన్, రైట్? What we are trying to solve is the problems. Problems won't get solved so easily. They will give a lot of impediments to us. So the patience is the most important thing. So when you are making a career in software, when you are making a career in quantum computing, or whatever it is, the technology, try to understand and document everything in your life. Documentation, everybody, people even in the industry with 10 years, 15 years also, they don't even write the unit test cases. So always, whenever I join, I'm an advisor to two companies. One is Toronto-based company, another is, there's one more company in Vijayawada, right? There's one more company in Bangalore. So they always keep on asking me, how do I do the unit testing? You cut the cancer in the initial stages. That's what I will tell them. If you don't cut it in the initial stages, the unit testing is not done. The bug will flow in the life cycle and it will be found in the customer's premises, which is too expensive for you. If it is $1 there, if you find a defect there in the requirements or the, at the unit level or the decoding level or the requirements level, when you can't find that, it is $250 you have to pay. That is 250 times. So with that, I am going to end up that note. Any doubts, please get back to me. I want you to have the passion in whatever you do. Today, we are all talking about Qiskit festival. We are talking about quantum computing, which is at 10,000 feet high, right? So that's why I started with artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence actually socialized with us. It is penetrated. People are using, companies are using, companies have got the center of excellence for artificial intelligence, so on and so forth. So I started with AI. I started with Agentic AI. I started with how to use the quantum computing. I started with Qiskit. So gradually, then these are the Python programs that have been written, and these are the outputs that I have gotten, and you have to interpret the results in such a way to prove that quantum Qiskit is basically a beneficial to me to use for this kind of application. As I told you, that ICU beds, etc. I have got 5 ventilators, I have got 5,000 patients, and I have got 50 ICU beds. किसको देने का है? To whom I have to give? So I have to have a scientific basis to measure the SOFA, which is the severe organ failure assessment, which is based on the vitals, which is based on my blood levels, so on and so forth. They keep on continuously monitoring and pumping to me through some devices, electronic health devices or whatever it is. And the data is getting varied every second, etc. Then it will measure what is my SOFA there. Whoever is having the highest critical, medium, etc., the 250 critical people will be given an ICU bed there. That is again a Python program which is actually implemented. There's no iota of doubt it. Right? Another thing which we have already implemented, but we are going to add a quantum flavor is our product, which is called the risk-based testing. We are not marketing that product in the Indian market. We are marketing in the Toronto market, because there they know what is quantum computing. They know what is quantum processor. They have the 120-bit quantum processor in the University of Waterloo. They have got the quantum computers there. So if you go and penetrate and socialize with those customers who actually requires the quantum, I don't require a Mercedes-Benz to come to, to go to my office, which is just 500 meters away, right? I can walk or I can come by bike. So what is the necessary? So those people have got the necessity there. So go and socialize with them. So we are going to risk-based testing approach, AI-based. It's a beautiful product. And that's why I asked whoever is getting into the career of software testing, they should have the software testing background. Then they should know what is risk-based testing. Then they should know how is the AI used. Then they should know how the quantum has to be used. అలా సీక్వెన్షియల్ గా ఇంక్రిమెంటల్ గా వెళ్ళాలన్నమాట. ठीक है ना? सबको समझ गया? I'm talking in 3 languages. If you want, I can talk in Marathi also, so that you people understand and don't feel the laziness of reciprocating what I talk. That's more important, right? So I should have talked more and more and more, but I'm winding up because somebody from IBM is waiting there. I got delayed, right? So it's a cascading effect where, that fellow also is getting there, but he's sitting in somewhere in Spain or somewhere. Okay. Thank you guys very much. Thank you very much. And, thanks for your time, and, have an excellent career in this thing, right? So please get into some good companies. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so